Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome to this free event. Welcome. I'm going to be answering your questions today, and this is also an event to welcome in the autumn equinox. Okay, so Libra season is pretty much here. We're on the final day of Virgo season 2023, and so this is kind of like a sort of like a party, just no balloons, no banners. But yes, it's good to welcome in this new season. How has Virgo season been treating you? How's it been for you? Hello, Marissa. Welcome. You have finally caught me live. Oh, cool. So this is the first time you're catching me live. Well, welcome. Welcome. I hope you're having a good day so far. Hello, Danielle. No party. I know. I know. Hello, Danielle. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice start to your weekend. And also, I just want to say hello to others who have joined previously. So, Lottie or Lot, welcome to you. Russie, welcome. April as well. Yeah, I think those are the people so far. Hello, Sean. Welcome. How are you doing? I just want to say with this, okay, this video, this live stream is kind of like just a chit-chatty live stream where, okay, sure, you can shoot me some questions, but I don't want to take this session as being super, super serious or heavy. It could get heavy or serious during parts because it can depend on what's being said. But I just wanted to jump on and have a chat with you, like see how you're doing, how you're feeling, coming into Libra season. But yeah, so Danielle, you said that it flew by. Yeah, it did go well for you. Okay, great. So for you, Danielle, I believe the sun would have been traveling through your fifth house. So that can be quite a fun time. I know for me, I have Capricorn in the fifth house, and around Capricorn season, that can be quite a good time. I also want to say hello to Gretchen. Hi so you're from Atlanta in Georgia. I think I visited there before a few years ago. It was more like a stopover. It wasn't for very long. But I just remember the city lights. Hello to Miss Drew City. Hello, hi. Winnie, hi. Francisco, hi. Welcome. Winnie, you said, how am I feeling? How is everyone feeling? Yes, how are we all feeling? Yes. Oh, Danielle, you said it was fun when it lasted. Well, it lasted. Party has to end sometimes at some point. It's like, no, I don't want to go home. So how am I feeling? Well, if I was to be really honest about how I'm feeling now, I'm feeling quite tired. Yeah, feeling quite tired. I think, well, if we think about how the sun right now is at 29 degrees, then also the moon in Sagittarius creating a square to the sun, but both of them will make a same degree square, so both at 29 degrees. So with that, of course, tomorrow the sun moves into Libra. Well, that's actually just going to be in a few hours, really. And then the moon will also enter Capricorn very soon today. So that's a big energy shift. And yeah, that can feel quite like is it disconjointed, or it can feel very different, just that transition. But at the same time, Neptune is also quite in a late degree in Pisces, so making a T-square there with moon and sun, and so it's safe to say that it can just feel like, yeah, it's, you're saying there, Winnie, just want to stay in bed, lay in bed all day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then Marissa, you're saying same, Winnie, same. Mm-hmm. I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, should I just like postpone this session? Because what if I can't give my full energy? You know, I like to feel energized. I like to feel on. And I was considering postponing, but then I thought, no, 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 just go on and have a chat and just see, right? Just see. I even pulled a little tarot card and I got the King of Wands. And that, I think that kind of signified to me, right, just go for it and see how you get on. Marissa, you said you're so happy. You're so happy I'm here. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being here. I hope also that you are having a nice day. And are you up to anything nice over the weekend? Any major plans? Any major plans coming into Libra season? And Lottie, you said you sent me energy. Lottie, I do want to address the question though that you were asking. You said you like to understand intercepted signs. So obviously I don't have your chart in front of me, and reading charts this evening isn't something I'm going to do. Because you have put, all of your placements and things, and that's very difficult for me to visualize when it's written like that. However, what I can say about interceptions. Okay, I'll share just some information about interceptions. So, when a sign is intercepted, this is just my view of it, okay? What this often suggests is that it can feel like the energy of that sign is either difficult to access, or it's that it needs to kind of be worked on a little bit. But the thing about this is when it comes to interceptions, so this means that two signs are performing double duty. So, for instance, if you have, let's say you have Virgo and Pisces intercepted, right? This would mean that they're both swallowed within a particular house. And so the beginning of that house would start at, for the example of Pisces, that would be Aquarius. And then the beginning of the opposite one would be Leo. Okay, if I'm thinking of that correctly, I'm just trying to visualize. Okay, so yeah. So there's going to be that kind of energy at the beginning of the house. So you got to look at the Aquarius Leo part of it. But like I said, whilst there are signs swallowed within a house, this also means that two other signs are performing double duty. So in the case of Virgo and Pisces being intercepted, let's say Taurus and Scorpio, they rule two houses. Okay, so they would rule two houses within the chart somewhere. So they're performing double duty because they're ruling two houses, more than one house, which is usually the typical way of doing things. So the signs that are performing double duty, they actually can help with the interception. They can help with unlocking it, so to speak. And the other thing about unlocking an interception is locating the ruling planet tied to that house. Or sorry, that sign. My apologies. That sign. Danielle and also Miss Drew City, you both say that you have Virgo and Pisces intercepted. Okay, so yeah, you could then look for Mercury and Jupiter. You can even look for Neptune as well, seeing as Neptune is the modern day ruler of Pisces there. And perhaps they can, these planets can lend a helping hand to those interceptions for you. But the thing I want to say with interceptions is it's not like you can never access that energy. There I think it's even a matter of like time can be on your side. It can just be that maybe a bit later on in your life, you feel more connected to those energies. Or it could be that just the way you experience those energies is just a little bit different in comparison to other people. However, what I will say with this is if you have a planet that is located within that sign that is intercepted, that is particularly going to be like important to look at and to explore, because that planet that can represent, okay, that energy, the energy of that planet is actually quite blocked and limited. So I'll give you another example with this. Okay, so let's say you have Virgo and it's intercepted, and it's intercepted in the 11th house, right? Let's say that as an example. But you have Mars in Virgo, okay? That Mars in Virgo, then the Mars energy would be considered intercepted. Firstly, you got to look for Mercury. You got to locate Mercury, see what's happening with Mercury. What condition is it in? What's it aspecting? Also, you got to look at aspects to Mars. But that Mars energy, basically, so I'll give you sort of like a practical manifestation of what that could look like for someone. Well, that could look like someone who works within a leadership position within their organization, right? 11th house, organizations, teams, work, Virgo, they work within a service role, service, leadership, Mars, but their leadership is something that they need to really, really home and work on and like persist with. Okay. They may find that like they need to try harder, or they need to navigate that energy differently in comparison to someone who maybe has Mars in Virgo in the 11th house, but it's not intercepted. It could also be that there's some type of repression there with respect to like anger, okay? Or it could be that they're particularly like frustrated, okay? They're internally frustrated. They get worried, they get stressed out, they get so pissed off easily by other coworkers, for example. And so really, I think those things may need to be looked at more closely. But I want to finish off the interception speech answer by saying that interceptions aren't bad. Okay? They're not bad. And they're not like super, okay, sure, they can be challenging, okay, but it doesn't mean that it's negative or bad. I just want to say that because often when people hear about interceptions, it's like, oh my gosh, this energy, it's difficult to access. Like, is this a bad thing? I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the case. Of course, with that, I just want to say too, if okay, let's even think about the same example that I said. If that person who has Mars and Virgo intercepted in the 11th house, if they were to consistently run into issues with leaders, like other members, within their team, or other leaders within their team, if they were to consistently run into issues with like customers, or people who like, they're sort of walking over, they're trying to take advantage of the Mars and Virgo individual, then yeah, it's like this needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed head on. And that could be an issue for the Mars intercepted individual, because again, Mars is like our drive, it's our action, it's our ability to stand up for ourselves, it's our ability to say to somebody, I don't like what's happening here. Something needs to change within this organization, within the place that I work, because I'm not standing for it. So yeah, you could look at that as a challenge for somebody. And if it's this reoccurring theme in their life, it needs to be looked at, especially if it's causing them stress. can have serious impacts on their health, right? I mean, when it comes to astrology, I just think common sense is helpful. Common sense, being practical. Doa, you said, "Oh, thank you so much. That's very, very nice of you. Thank you for your lovely compliments." The girl from Skins. I'm not sure which one, but I do. Are you talking about like the first generation of Skins? I'm not sure which character you're referring to, but I do remember the girl from Skins being really pretty. But yeah, thank you. That's nice of you. Lotta, you said thank you for explaining. Of course, and I hope that you find it to be useful. Personally speaking, I would use the whole sign system. You said the first generation Doa. Okay. Yeah, so I would use the whole sign system. And I did start off using Placidus. And I would also say that I would resonate with my Placidus chart, with how things are aligned there. But I also align with my whole sign chart. So yeah, it's interesting because I also do find that with the whole sign system, you can also arrive to these sort of conclusions as well, or you can explore the chart in a different way, maybe to get to the same point or to the same destination. That can often happen. But with that, there's no harm in playing around with different systems, right? I think that's the thing. There are so many house systems now, and you could just send your mind in an absolute whirl, just confused about, oh, which one do I use? I've even heard of many astrologers talking about Porphyry and how that is a really accurate system. I've also heard of, is it the equal house system from astrologers, and they find that to be super accurate as well. I have made a video about different house systems, so if you do want to check that out. Let me see. Okay, so MJ, you say that you have a Capricorn stellium. Okay, so you're explaining all of your placements. Now, as I was saying earlier, I hope this comes across in a kind way, but whenever all the information is typed out like that, I find that really hard to visualize it. I need to see the chart in front of me to really understand. And yeah, so I just want to say that about typing everything out. However, you have said that you need advice on how to overcome your fears because it's been keeping you paralyzed your whole life and you can't even live it. You want to be able to achieve your ambitious career goals, but you're always limiting yourself with the trauma and the fears, and it's stopping you from living, even stepping out from the traumatizing mold that your father trapped you in, even if he's trying to amend his mistakes now. Well, MJ, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you are feeling this way and that you've been experiencing such hardships throughout your life. That does sound really challenging and painful, especially because, well, what I'm hearing here from you is that you want to overcome your fears. It's like you really, really want to do something about this. And it's like you just need to know the next step, the next sort of practical step to move forward. And then what I'm also hearing from this is, you said you want to be able to achieve your ambitious career goals. So in this way, well, if we think about the Capricorn stellium, you said, so you have the Capricorn stellium, and then you say you have a Gemini rising. So I'm just kind of visualizing like in whole sign what this shows up as. But yeah, basically, this to me, the Capricorn stellium, this to me suggests that you are quite the ambitious person and that you can persevere. You have this sort of like this strength and this resilience within you that really wants to overcome. And the eighth house energy, that the eighth house is a very tricky house. How about what I do is I explore the eighth house a little bit more deeply to try to help with this. And maybe by explaining the eighth house, this can even go toward everyone, in that you're going to hear a bit more about the eighth house. So what stood out to me for you, MJ, is you said about traumatizing, right? The eighth house can look at unresolved trauma. It can literally show up as trauma, okay? And buried emotions, repressed emotions. And then you did say as well about with your father, who trapped you in this respect, or you think about even Saturn energy can also be limiting. It can be very restrictive. So to have it in the eighth house, we're noticing these things basically, right? Given the information that I said about the eighth, with the information that I said about the Capricorn energy, that Saturnian energy, right? But you see, the eighth house is also so much about transformation. Now, when it comes to transformation, this is not black and white. This is not about just going, oh, well, I want to change this about myself, so I just need to do this, this, and this. And maybe for you, this is the way you see things. It's like you need to kind of see the results, or you need to see the structure, or you need to plan things. Maybe that's what works for you. But I just want to say, when it comes to transformation, when it comes to overcoming, especially if we think about the emotional stuff, the buried stuff, the traumatic stuff, for one, be patient with yourself. And also, my goodness, be kind to yourself. When it comes to like healing, when it comes to trying to work through the really heavy stuff, right? This is eighth house stuff, right? Heavy. It's heavy. When it comes to that process, it is not just this like upward thing where you just keep moving forward and you keep going up and you keep going up, and then you make it to the top and it's like, oh, I overcame this. It is it can go forward. You can go forward. You can it can feel like you're taking 5 steps back. It can feel like you're making progress, but then it can also feel like you're being triggered by something and you're just in complete like shock, or you were saying about feeling paralyzed. And the emotional body, the emotions there, yeah. This is a process. This is something that is continuously like worked on. And perhaps for you, it is about, working through it. And the other thing I just want to say with this, and this is even in a collective way when it comes to the eighth house, whatever emotion you're feeling, whatever emotion you may not like to feel it. Feel it. I may sound like I'm going on a bit of a rant right now, but I'm going to be as calm as possible as I say this. We can be so conditioned to think that certain emotions are wrong, that they're bad. You can't feel that emotion. But but our emotions are there for a reason. Our emotions signal to us what we're experiencing, internally. Like, are we experiencing anger? Are we experiencing jealousy? Are we experiencing disgust? Or maybe it's joy, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's anxiety. But it's trying to kind of see what those feelings are signaling to us about what we're experiencing, even externally. But then the thing about this is that our emotions are typically, they are repeated, or they're reoccurring based upon what we have experienced in the past. So this leads me on to something very, very important that you need to look at when it comes to the eighth house. And again, I'm addressing this to everybody. Something very important you need to consider when it comes to the eighth house is the fourth house. Okay? Because you need to see where you're coming from. You need to have a look at like how you were raised, what, your upbringing. What were you conditioned to feel? What were you conditioned to believe about yourself? What was the relationship like with your mother, with your father? What was the relationship like, between your mother and father? What did you experience within your family home? What were your siblings like? Even explore the third house. What type of relationship did you have with your siblings? See, if you think about, right, you think about the chart, and I'm saying this, and I'm hopefully that everybody who's watching this, you have a fair understanding of astrology, okay? Okay, MJ, you say you have Chiron in the fourth house. Okay, right there, yeah. A lot of healing there, a lot of healing, all right. But when it comes to the wheel, the zodiac wheel, you think about houses 1 through 6. The first house, right? The first house is so much about your earliest childhood experiences. Your earliest. If you think about just being born, this is your first house. Planets that are close to the ascendant, so if they're maybe like conjunct, maybe like 5 degrees, 2 degrees, okay, with the orb there, you got to consider orbs, but basically if they're conjunct the ascendant, those planets can give you some sort of indication as to the ways in which you were born. And even the 12th house, which is the house before the first, that can explain what your mother experienced whilst she was pregnant with you. So to bring this back to the 6 houses, this is kind of like a journey, so to speak. Okay, this is sort of like your life's journey. So you go with the first house, and this shows your earliest childhood experiences. This shows the type of identity that you formed, that was shaped, predominantly because it was reinforced. Okay. So for example, your mother could have told you, "Oh, you're such a good child. You're so good. You're so good. You're so good." And maybe in this way, you're someone who has maybe a Leo rising. Maybe you're someone who has Sun conjunct your ascendant. Maybe you have Venus conjunct your ascendant. Maybe you were told by your parents, "You're so beautiful. Like, you're such a beautiful, beautiful child," and you got that, like, you got that affirmation, you got that encouragement. And so maybe you have Venus. Maybe you have Venus in your first house. Maybe you have Venus conjunct your ascendant. Or maybe you're someone who was told, "You know what? You're so full of energy, and you're a fighter, and you're independent, and oh my gosh, like, slow down. You're here, there, and everywhere. Oh my gosh, you're so feisty." You could be someone then who has Mars in your first house or conjunct your ascendant. Maybe Mars and Leo, especially there. Mars in a fire sign. So yeah, the first house has a lot to do with your identity. Then the second house, let me just take you around, okay? I'm just saying this information hopefully as a way to kind of help you understand. But the second house then, so what do we know about the second house? We know that it can look at our materials, our resources, our finances, okay? The types of money that we earn, right? Types of money that we earn. And also what we value, what we prioritize within our lives, what holds value and substance. But the second house also looks at how you were provided for financially by your caregivers or by your financial providers. Of course, not everybody grows up with their parents, right? You get children, for example, who are adopted, they go into foster care, but you get the point that basically this looks at your security when you were growing up. But you see, it is that very security that influences what? Let's think about opposite, 8th house. It influences the ways in which you share with others. The 8th house is a house of sharing. Think about it, right? The whole thing whenever you get married, what's mine is yours, or it's yours is mine, or something like that. I can't remember what it is that you say in the vows, but yeah, you basically enter into a partnership, and if you marry another, you share your resources. So the 8th house is about sharing. But you see, that is connected to the second house based on your own personal finances, right? The second house is kind of like what you bring into the relationship then as a solo person, if you will. But essentially, I'm trying to say here that the second house looks at how you were provided for and how that can influence the type of people you relate to later on in your life. Excuse me. Sorry. Whew. I don't know, maybe this is heavy stuff. It's interesting because I said this was supposed to just be like a fun chit chat thing, and we weren't going to get too serious. We weren't going to get too heavy, but here we are. It's okay. Where was I? Yes. So it's also looking at then how you relate to others and how you share with others. And then we move over to the third house. And the third house, let's think about this. The third house looks at your early schooling, your early education. Okay. And you kind of have to think about even the types of relationships that you had with your classmates. If you can think back to when you started to go to primary school, by the way, I am from Belfast. Okay. So the schooling system that I'm explaining is based on just where I'm from. So if you go to primary school, what type of relationship did you have with the other children? That's the third house. What classmates did you make? Like, how did you view your classmates? How were you when it came to engaging with other friends? What school friends did you make? Okay, I'll even just draw from my own experience with this particular one, okay? So I have Scorpio in the third house. I have Pluto there. And in primary school and high school, I was very, very shy. I would have kept to myself. I was very skeptical of others. And I would even say that I would I would not trust other people very easily. And it would almost be like I felt like I was on guard, or I had to be on the defense. But I made the most incredible friends in that today we are still friends. You think about Scorpio, it's so much about loyalty. It's about intimacy. Me and my friends can have the most intimate discussions. We can be so intimate and vulnerable and emotional together. So anyway, the point of this is third house can show you your classmates. And the other thing I want to say is it can show you, like I was saying earlier, siblings. What kind of relationship did you have with your siblings? And these relationships, okay, these beginning relationships, they are kind of like these building blocks, if you will, when it comes to how you relate with the world. Because it's the first, like, social house, so to speak. Then the others, of course, would be the 7th house, the 11th house, okay? But yeah, that third house is going to showcase the ways in which you started to relate to the world around you. Then the other thing I want to say with this is the third house looks at your first forms of speech, how you started to walk, okay? And the things as well that you were curious about. I'll give you another example of this, okay? I'll give you another example. So like I said, I have Scorpio in the third. I remember when I was in primary school, I wrote a whole detective story, right? It was like this murder mystery story. Hi, Scorpio, right? And I enjoyed it so much. I think about it sometimes, and I wish that I had have kept it. But that was just, I loved it. I loved writing it, and I love those types of stories. Today, that is something that I'm so curious about. Just intuitively, I love to learn, just, thinking about murder mysteries, watching, shows on the television like Law and Order, CSI, true crime, these types of things. I even have a book in front of me and it's called Ghost Story, and I can't wait to read it coming into October. So basically, the point of this is consider here that third house, because that's going to show you so much about your intrigue, your curiosity. What do you like to learn about? And how does your mind operate? How do you communicate with other people? How do you come across to other people? And so those beginning stages with respect to conversation, again, they can act as these building blocks when it comes to how we relate with the world. So that's the third house, right? We've explored that a little bit more. Then we get to the fourth house. And which, by the way, I will read through your comments in just a moment. I want to go all the way to the sixth house. I want to kind of stay with this, okay? So we go to the fourth house, and the fourth house is a house tied to your family, okay? Especially thinking about the type of relationship that you had with your parents. Now, the thing about the fourth house is some astrologers may associate it with the relationship that you had with your mother, but then others could say the father. But I think it was Howard Sasportas said in his book that they can be interchangeable along with the 10th house. So if, for example, you look at the fourth house and it's like, right, this explains the relationship I have with my mother, then the 10th house can show the type of relationship you had with your father. But then again, like I said, you can alternate them, or you can switch them around. It just depends. And then I also think the thing about this is it depends on if the moon is there. It depends on if Saturn is there, the sun is there. Moon is typically tied to the mother figure, right? And then sun and Saturn would be more tied to the father figure. So Yeah. And then even if you think about as well for Leo risings are going to have Scorpio in the fourth house. So that fourth house point would be more like the father figure. And I think that's perhaps because they already have the sun on the ascendant, like ruling their chart. And then maybe you could even look at that as maybe Mars, right? That Mars energy could show up as more of a fatherly role. But then again, I would even say that either. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. So why is this important? Okay. Why is this important when it comes to the chart? Because the relationship that you had with your parents says so much about how you were nurtured, how you were heard, how you were, in a way, conditioned, or the types of things that maybe you learned from your parents. And those bonds, those bonds that we have with our parents, they follow us. They stay with us. It kind of goes back to the whole thing of like the emotional body, you know, exploring your emotions as a child and how you related to your parents as well. Those are then those experiences then are associated in a way with your feelings and your emotions even later on in life. And then a lot of that is to do with the unconscious, the things that are stored in the unconscious. So, for example, right, I'll just give an example. Let's say, for example, that perhaps later on in your life, right? Again, we'll bring it back to the eighth house. You know, we started off by looking at the eighth house. And then what I did is I brought you to the fourth house as a way to help you explore that eighth house more. Yeah. And then what we did is we went from the first and we're going to the sixth because I wanted to really look at that sort of journey, that process with respect to your life. Right. So let's bring it back to the eighth again. With the eighth house, it can also look at intimacy. It can look at, I'm going to try and say this as diplomatic as possible. It can look at the SH1T, the crap that you bring into your intimate relationships without realizing. Okay, so for example, you're in a relationship and you're triggered. You are triggered by what the other person is doing. Like, what? Why are they not as clean as me? Why are they not as patient as me? Why do they not see the world the same way I see it? And there can be disagreements, and you can even, bring even any past traumatic experiences into the relationship as well. But again, these things are unconscious. We do not realize a lot of the times that we're bringing our crap to the party. But this is about owning ourselves. And this is also why relationships are so great. Relationships can help us, they can assist us in actually becoming whole or becoming, let's say, more whole. Not completely whole, but more whole. It's like we can work on ourselves then. We can kind of see, okay, I'm reflecting on this. Like, why am I triggered by this? Why is this annoying me that, my partner is acting in this way? Why is that annoying me? And it could be that, that partner is very disrespectful, or maybe they're lying, or they're, doing all sorts of terrible things. And okay, it would be a useful thing, a beneficial thing to go, no, I need to put myself first, remove, right? But sometimes what can happen is, it depends on who you are, but you could try go in and like fix the situation, or could try to go in and assert your authority onto the situation. And this, of course, isn't to say that things can't be worked on as well, right? yeah, you can work on your relationships too. This is the thing, it depends on what you want as well. But the point I'm trying to say is that this process, like this dance between us and other people, that is so unconscious. And so the thing about relationships and the eighth house is we can work on the unconscious. The eighth house, yes, it looks at unresolved trauma, but it also looks at the ways in which we take back our power and perceive that whatever way you want to perceive that in whatever way you want to perceive that based upon your own sort of personal experiences. But it's about taking back our own power. It's about transformation. And you could come, right? You could go into a relationship and that because of that relationship, you are reborn. You are transformed because you were able to kind of see, this is what I'm learning. This stuff that's happening within this intimate relationship, I can see how my past is coming into this. So this brings us back to the fourth house, like I was trying to say there. You could be triggered by your partner, but then when you really think about it, you're like, oh, that really annoys me because like my father did da 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 da, or my mother, and this way my mother handled things, or this is the way I was taught within my family home growing up. This is the way my family handled situations. This is how they handle conflict. So I'm just repeating what my family taught me. And that's what we do a lot of the times. Like we repeat the same cycles, and that's the fourth house. The fourth house, you see, is not only about the relationship that we had with our caregivers and our family. We think about our family and what our family was like, our family life. It's also a house that shows us how we can break and end cycles. See, the fourth house is even a house of completion. And this is something that I don't think I've heard often. But in a way, it's a house where you gain closure. Closure. Okay, so let's think about, for example, let's think about, for example, that a loved one, and it's horrible to think about. It's quite morbid to think about, but a loved one is on their deathbed. Okay, they're about to pass, and perhaps they're gently rubbing your hand, and they're saying, you know what, like, I know that I was like so I was such and such, and I said this, but you know what? I love you. I love you. I'm so proud of you. I'm sorry for what I did all those years ago. Whatever that conversation is, that is sort of like a form of closure. That is an ending. Now, you could also say that relates to the 12th house, because the 12th house can also look at endings. Okay, it can look at DEATH, so can the 8th house, but these are all water houses that I'm explaining. But I just wanted to say that. And like I said, with the breaking of cycles, you think about today with a lot of people breaking generational cycles, generational curses, if you will, right? Where they think to themselves, you know what? I don't want to repeat that same thing. I don't want to project all of the stuff that was. I don't want to project the stuff that I went through onto my children. This is the kind of generation that we're in today, that we've approached. I think a lot of this has to do with Pluto being in Scorpio, ushering this in. I think a lot of it has to do with Neptune and Pisces that has ushered this type of behavior in. Perhaps even the Capricorn generation, with Uranus, Neptune, Saturn ushered all of this in. And we're even noticing with Saturn being in Pisces right now, that's further looking at emotional responsibility. This energy with Pisces right now, it is so much, right, with Neptune and Saturn, it is so much about you owning your crap. It's like, no, I'm taking that back for myself. I'm not going to project that anymore. And that's hard. And I know that that is hard because you're working with the unconscious. And how do you make something conscious that is unconscious? There's tools out there, of course, and I'm not going to get into those types of tools, but I really, really wanted to explore these houses through this lens. And I just want to say, MJ, I want to thank you for asking me the question and for opening up this conversation and for helping us as a live stream to dive a bit deeper. I may even consider changing the title of this live stream after, because this is heavier stuff. Right. So I'm going to read through your comments and then we'll move on and we'll explore also the fifth house and the sixth house just to give you more information. Right. So I also want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I've been enjoying this talk. I love talking about this. And if this information can help anyone, absolutely perfect. And I'm happy to be of service to you today. And if you do want to support the Patreon, you can. Okay, you can. You can head over to Patreon at Hannah's Elsewhere for more information about astrology. Right. So there is another question that's come in from Maya. And then also, Francisco, you've asked a question. I'll try and see about answering those questions once I've finished up with the houses situation, because we're sort of on a roll right now. And I want to try and get through it. Sean, you said you've got Pluto and Uranus in the first house. Okay. Rocky beginnings. Like changeable beginnings, let's put it that way. You know, both Pluto can be transformative, Uranus can be like sudden changes. Okay, so MJ, you're sharing more about your story. Perfection. Oh, I'm assuming you have Chiron and Virgo. Am I right in saying that? Because you said about perfectionism there. You said you have Chiron on the fourth house. Am I right in saying that? Sean, you said everyone in your house, wife, son, and yourself have the moon in the eighth house. I think I remember, Sean, you have moon in the eighth house in Taurus. Am I correct in saying that? Moon in the eighth house. I also have moon in the eighth house. It's in Aries, but yeah, investigative, looking beneath the surface. But yeah, you said they're quite a dynamic combination. I'm sure, full of passion. But you know what? At least you know with people who have moon in the eighth house, like their emotions are raw, like their emotions are genuine. Marissa, you said you've got this. Oh, here we go. Thank you. um, oh, so your son and your wife have the Aries moon, Sean, and then you've got the Taurus moon. Oh, Marissa, then wait, Marissa, is that are you here from Instagram? Mm. And Danielle, you said you have the third Cancer in the third house. You're grounded and they're feisty. Oh my gosh, I can feel your pain. I can imagine your pain. I'm joking. I'm joking. Rufus, oh my gosh. I'm sorry that you what was it? You said that you were bullied, MJ. I'm sorry to hear that. It's not nice at all. Not nice experiences to go through. You said similar placements, right? Yeah. Saturn return, trying to face the fear and break free. Dolly. Chris, you said hi. you had to suppress yourself a lot. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to go through. You can do this. Hi, Triple Emers. Hi. Hello. Welcome to this live stream. Neptune retrograde in the 3rd. The detective novel of yours in the future, hopefully. Maybe. I would love to write like a horror story or like a murder mystery story. Even thinking about this more, I always remember in English class, and they showed a textbook and they were talking about suspense, right? Ooh, suspense, building suspense. And it got me so excited. Like I get so excited. It's seeing horror movies, right? I don't even think it's not really the scare itself that interests me. It's the suspense. It's the build up. It's like, oh, like where's it coming from? You know, what's going to happen? Ah, I did not see that coming. Oh my god. Hi, David. Welcome. You said that you have Capricorn in your 3rd house. I hope you're doing well, David. Sean, you've got 4th house Capricorn. Goba, you said please answer mine, ma'am. Let me see. There's just so many comments now. There's so many. Where were you up? Okay, I'm sorry for missing you. I'm so sorry. Any remedies to get rid of the financial struggles? Right. Hold your question until Hannah's finished answering the previous one. Yeah, sorry. To be fair, I've been going on a complete roller coaster with the answer because I've been going through all of the houses. Right, what I will do, folks, which I do appreciate your questions. I really do. Yes, yes. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Marissa. Thank you. It's good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to finish off by looking at 5 and 6, and then I will scroll back up and I'll have a look at those questions. Okay, and if you need to go, right? If you have a life to live today, you can always come back and check in, and then you can scroll toward your the answer. Right. So let's explore the fifth house a little bit. Now, the 5th house is then the house that is associated with play, fun. So what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do as in, you know, your forms of enjoyment? What is it that entertains you? And what hobbies do you have? Do you have any hobbies? Do you like to read? Do you like to go biking on the weekends? Do you like to go boating maybe? You know, maybe you like to be by the water. You know, maybe you have moon in the 5th house. Maybe you've got Neptune there. Maybe you've got Cancer there. Or maybe you're someone who has like Venus and Libra in the 5th house and you love all of the like the romantic stuff, okay? Or maybe you have Leo in the 5th house, you've got the sun there, or you've got Mars there and you love the drama, you know, the dramatic element of shows and entertainment. And then the 5th house also looks at our romantic relationships and the types of romantic encounters that we experience, okay? Which I just want to say with this, it can also look at affairs, okay? So, you know, affairs can show up in the 5th house. But yes, romance. And excuse me, I'm so sorry. Just what I don't even know why. It's too late. Just my anyway. So romance, and what I further want to say is that it can look at dating. So let's try to think more about the beginning stages of your life again. If we bring it back to the beginning stages, what was it that you were passionate about when you were younger? And keep in mind that curiosity versus passion is different. So what really excited you when you were younger? And what about your creativity? What did you enjoy in terms of, you know, creating? Did you play music? Did you sing? Did you literally paint? Did you even like play loads of games even, right? That's something, playing loads of video games, or maybe you like to play around with clothing or fashion and makeup, etc., etc. So that then shows the connection with even your inner child when you're older. Often, when you think about the inner child, it's like, well, what was it that you like, what you did, what was it that you liked to do for fun whenever you were younger? Because when you're an adult, there's not really like a lot of time for fun. Not really, because you can live such a busy life and then work responsibilities, and even whenever you try to set time aside for free time, going on a date with your partner, the working stuff, the responsibility stuff still plays on your mind. How many times have any of you went to maybe watch a television show, and then what starts to happen is, I need to do the washing. I need to do the ironing. I need to do this. That's the thing. When you're older, the fun can minimize. So free time can minimize as well, which the fifth house is tied to free time. So this is about, in a way, reconnecting with the inner child, reconnecting with the parts of yourself that wants to play and isn't so concerned with responsibility or work. And the fifth house can also look at those beginning stages with respect to how you played with other children. Now, this is an important one. Marissa, you said Capricorn in the fifth house. Yeah. I've got that too. Yeah, we both have Virgo risings, right? Yeah. I feel you. On that. So yes, think here about the beginning stages when it came to play. How did you play with kids? So if you can imagine, right, you're in primary school and you're with your classmates, and it's break time, or recess as you say in the USA. It's break time. Everybody go out to play. How did you interact with the other kids? What went on there? There's people making puzzles, or maybe puzzles. I was saying it's more inside, right? Sorry. There may be what did you do? Skipping. Yes, skipping, right? Skipping, hopscotch, trying to remember all the things that you did as a kid. But yeah, they're doing all those things. Like, what way did you get on? Did you maybe join in? Did you stay way back? Did you maybe create like a team of people together? How did you interact with the other children? And did you feel included, or were you pushed out? That's the fifth house. And that's important. That is so important. We think about the 11th house, right? The 11th house looks at groups. It looks at teams. It looks at communities. So if you, for example, did not feel like you were valued when it came to play, when it came to inclusion, then this can suggest that later on in your life, you find it really, really hard. Like, you find it hard to join in on a team situation, a group situation. And the last thing I want to say about the fifth house is the beginning stages of dating. Were you the type of person, as soon as you could date, you're like, okay, I have a girlfriend, for example. I have a girlfriend, as soon as you could. Or were you someone who was like, ugh, no, girls, ugh. I'm being silly, right? I'm just being silly. But I just hope that you can see what I'm talking about. And again, this is why the fifth house is important, because those feelings of specialness, the butterflies, the ways in which you viewed love as even a teenager, as a young person, Those experiences can shape you so much and can shape the way you view other people, and they can also shape the ways in which, you enter the seventh house stuff, even, right? You think about committed relationships as well. So that's the fifth house. And I'm going to look at the sixth house then, lastly, and then I'll scroll up again. So the sixth house, right. The sixth house is often a house, I think, this is just my personal opinion on this. It is a house that is just seen by so many people as bland, as boring, as kind of like not all that important, when really it is so important. All houses are important, of course. But let me just say this about the sixth house. The sixth house, by the way, there's more I could say about the other houses, but I just want to try and get through these. And, if you want to ask me any more questions about the houses, let me know. But yes, so the sixth house is so much about the type of person you are within your everyday life. So you think about that, who you are on a daily basis. That has a lot to say about your character. It has a lot to say about the person you are. Okay. And then what can also show up here is when you have an off day. When you have an off day where you don't feel like yourself, maybe the sixth house can lend a helping hand then when it comes to, okay, you're not feeling yourself right now. You're not feeling yourself right now. Maybe you just need to relax. Maybe you need to take a little bit of time off. Maybe you need to do something as a way to sort of help you physically. Looking at health here, of course, the sixth house is tied to health. But you see, if we were to also go back to the beginning stages of our lives, because that's the kind of theme, the pattern, that is the structure we've been following throughout this live stream. Well, those earlier stages to do with the sixth house can show up as how were you taught basic skills with respect to cleaning, with respect to helping, your everyday chores, your everyday tasks? How did that happen? How did that unfold for you? Were you, for example, given praise? Were you given praise? Were you given pocket money? So, if, for example, if you helped maybe your mother clean up the kitchen after dinner, were you given a little bit of pocket money? Were you told, "Oh, thank you so much," or was it something completely different to this, where it was like, "You have to clean, you have to clean, you have to do this, do it now," and that was like constantly enforced upon you? Someone with Saturn in the sixth house may relate to what I'm saying here. And then also, it's like nothing was ever good enough. Nothing you did was ever good enough. No matter how much you try to help, it's like, oh, it needs to be perfect, needs to be better. So, yeah, the sixth house can look at how we were taught those basic skills, those basic everyday skills, how we were introduced to them. And then also the type of job that you have, like even thinking about the first job that you ever had, or the ways in which you approached jobs as soon as you could work, the ways in which you approached that work. And even the types of relationships that you have with coworkers. Do you get on well with your coworkers? Do some of them really annoy you? Do you prefer to work as a team? Do you prefer to work independently? And then the last thing I'll say with the sixth house is, of course, health. Okay, health. And this isn't just about the type of like health that you have, maybe in your 20s, but even looking at how you were health wise as a child. Did you have any major like illnesses, or maybe did you have to spend more time in hospital or whatever? The 12th house even lends its helping hand to health, because the 12th house looks at hospitals. But I'm going to end this by explaining just a personal example to ground this energy. So I have a sixth house stellium. I have Sun, Mercury, and Saturn in the sixth house. And then I have Chiron in the 12th house, which is opposite. Then I have Jupiter, which is on the ascendant. So this is just a little story. I'll tell you my beginning stages of life. Like I said, the first house can look at your beginning stages of life, and planets conjunct the ascendant can tell you the ways in which you were born. Okay. So I had serious health issues whenever I was a baby. As soon as I was born, I had two holes in my heart when I was born. Leo rules the heart. Okay, I've got Chiron and Leo in the 12th house. Like I said, the 12th house can look at the experience that you had in your mother's womb. So, yes, Chiron looks at wounds. The 12th house also looks at hospitals. So, like I said, I also have the stellium in the sixth house, and the sixth house looks at health. So Saturn is there. So it's safe to say that my health was not great. It was actually life-threatening when I was born. However, Jupiter was conjunct the ascendant. Jupiter looks at things like prayer, blessings, luck. Okay. And the thing about when I was born is the very first house I ever visited as a baby was a minister's house, a religious figure's house. My parents prayed for me, and they encouraged their church to pray for me. So that is just an example that I wanted to share. And I just thought that that was probably a really on point example in the potency of astrology, which is really remarkable. So anyway, I really hope everyone that I was able to explain the first six houses in a way based on like your upbringing, and hopefully I could lend some sort of support or assistance or help with understanding the first six houses. Maybe one day I'll do the next six houses. Let me know if you want the other 12. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way back up again, and I'm going to have a look at other questions. Thank you so much, MJ. I just want to say, MJ, thank you for opening up that conversation. Thank you. Because we were able to explore all of that. And as I say, I hope others can benefit from that information. Okay. Let's see. Right. Lazarus. Do I have any tips on Cancer Saturn? Any tips? Let me think. Tips. Okay. I would say tip number 1, make sure that you are listening to your emotions. Listen, feel. And that, of course, I don't know your personal experience. This is the thing, context as well. But yeah, the Cancer Saturn is so much about feeling, because it could be that what's often happened throughout your life is the repression of your feelings, or sort of putting yourself down for feeling certain emotions. And the other thing I would say is that to be gentle with yourself, to be kind with yourself with respect to your own emotional needs and your emotional cycles. And another thing I think would be, it maybe sounds really like vague or silly, but make sure you're drinking plenty of water or be by the water. Maybe something, something water related can be very like therapeutic for you and calming. And I would even say calming and regulating the nervous system here. So yes, I would say ease, to try and focus a great deal on ease and just slowing down, checking in with yourself, perhaps journaling, meditating. And I would also say with this that when it comes to like emotional bonds, even thinking about the relationship that you have with your family, you know, if you have family members in your life who you can lean on them. But if it feels like there are all of these blockages and these limitations tied to family, I'm sorry that that is something that you're experiencing, and perhaps that is something to then work through within yourself, to explore those family dynamics, those family relationships. Okay, so any remedies? Goba, I'm sorry, it's just to pronounce that longer word, but I'm going to say Gobala. Any remedies to get rid of financial struggles and get more abundance? Well, that question, I think it's very difficult to answer without context. But any remedies to get rid of financial struggles and to get more abundance? Okay. I I just, again, the context, and I don't think it's so black and white here. It's like you can't just get rid of financial struggles. I don't think that that's how it works. Maybe I'm just being too Virgo about this. It's the best way to explain that. But here's something I'm going to share, which I've been reflecting on within my own life, which maybe can be helpful and useful for you. When it comes to abundance, when it comes to gratitude, it is so much about really appreciating what you already have. And I know it sounds, I know. I know it can sound woo woo. It can sound like, well, duh, that kind of way. But really, it's just this whole thing of enjoying the simple things, seeing what is already available to you rather than dwelling on what isn't. And again, that is easier said than done. That it can be difficult to do, basically, especially, for example, you need to pay your rent, right? It's like you need to pay your rent. Like, yeah. So yeah, but that the thing about this, I'm coming to learn is trying to just find the pleasure and the grace and the appreciation in the little things. Maybe that's my Jupiter and Virgo talking. Okay. Or maybe this is something that Jupiter and Taurus has been ushering in for us as a collective. You think about what's been happening collectively with Pluto moving into Aquarius at the beginning of the astrological new year, and with Jupiter then making that square to Pluto, and the opposition between Pluto and Mars and everything, it has not been the most like rewarding, let's just say. Financial blockages, financial struggles. I mean, we're in the middle of like this time period of inflation where prices for things are skyrocketing, and it's hard for people like they're coming, post COVID. Yeah, so I think Jupiter and Taurus has been ushering in a time period just to really slow down and just try to remain patient. Try your very best to remain patient. maybe thinking about all of the Jupiter stuff where it's like, right, okay, it's going to pass. This is going to pass. It's going to be okay. Life is good. We're going to get through this. Just even your affirmations, even if you want to think about manifesting, you want to think about gratitude, all these things. If you want to do those things, do them. Do them. Whatever it is that provides you with solace, whatever it is that provides you with comfort. I know for me, I've been journaling, been writing in my gratitude journal, and that is something that I probably wouldn't have done a few years ago. But I'm happy to be doing it. And do you know what? It feels nice. It feels nice to be writing in a journal. I'm grateful for da 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 da, or like I wish well upon da 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 da, and I'm thinking about da 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 da. Like just yeah, even just trying to like wish well toward other people, pray for them, say kind things about them. And at the same time, people in life are going to piss you off, and that's okay too. But anyway, that was probably a really long-winded way to answer your question. Maya, can I please tell you how Jupiter transiting your natal sun in Taurus? Okay, I'll try and keep this quite brief because again, I don't see your chart. I don't see what's going on there. But I'll try my best to keep this brief. You say 7 degrees. I just want to check something on my phone. Okay. I'm looking at my astrology cheat sheets, which you can get at hannahselsewhere.com. Okay. Where are we? Okay. So Jupiter right now transiting your natal sun in Taurus in the 12th. Right. So 12th house, if you've got Taurus there in the 12th, basically probably have like Gemini rising, 12th house. All right. Okay. So I would say a lot of this has to do with relaxation. A lot of this has to do with connecting more with your body, with your senses. Okay. This is a time period right now. There's just a lot of inner stuff happening, right? Reflection, recalibrating with respect to your values, with respect to your priorities in life, and maybe seeking some type of higher meaning when it comes to these things. And just take your time. I think Taurus, it's so much, the sign is so much about slowing down. And that's hard for people who just want to rush and push. I know for me, I've got an Aries moon and I'm like, go, 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 go. And just think about the hustle and bustle of life. So, yeah, slowing it down. And then also with the 7, you said 7 degrees, Taurus. 7 is the Libra degree. So, I would say also for you, Maya, there's something here about balance, a greater deal of balance and harmony. I would say even this is a good time for you to really connect with your inner beauty. This is a good time to connect with the things that bring you pleasure and joy and the things that make you feel quite calm and centered. Music, art. Francisco, Neptune square Saturn. Oh, you lost a ghost interaction. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Now that's really getting into very like heavy stuff there, isn't it? Wow. Okay. Well, I hope that you say you feel unstable. All I can say is I hope you feel better. Right. Who else? I'm trying to just go through any other questions that I got. MJ, you said, can these intimate relationships also apply to deep, close friendships? Yes. Yes. Okay. Intimate relationships isn't just about you and your partner. An intimate relationship can be between you and a friend. An intimate relationship can be even where like you're opening up so much to a therapist. right? Of course, there's certain like mature limitations and professional limitations on their end, but there's still that like that emotional intimacy and that vulnerability coming out of you. So yeah, I would say that yes, it's not just about romance and that sort. It can also apply there to friendships. Sean, you said you can't help but feel triggered when your wife spends all night on her phone. You're working on it though. Oh, well, yeah, see, that's relationships, right? Relationships, the ways in which our partners act, our friends act, our children, they're their own people as well. Um, you said baby steps, MJ. Marissa showing. Oh, thank you, Marissa. Thank you so much for being here, Marissa. Um, you just saw. Tony said, "Oh, I just saw that I'm doing a live and it's almost done." I'm just flying through these. Welcome, by the way. I just want to say, Tony, hi. And if I've missed anybody today, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Will we be having more lives in the future? Yes, of course. Of course. Love doing lives. Isabel, you said you've got Pluto North Node, 11th house, and Aries, 29 degrees. Um, Morella, you said you've got Aquarius 5th with Mercury there. Ooh, I wonder what you like to do in terms of hobbies then with Aquarius there. I don't know, maybe like would you like sci-fi stuff? Do you like what was I gonna say there? Do you like playing video games? Pharrell Writer, you've got Pluto conjunct Saturn in the 5th in Scorpio opposite the Sun in Taurus. Ooh. Yeah, it's very like deep, heavy energy there in the 5th. But yeah, I'm sure you love like to investigate or research in your spare time, and you perhaps are very dedicated to research as well. Fariaha, you have Saturn transit in your 5th house right now. You see yourself going back to the thing is that the thing that brought you joy, and to be more disciplined about it, actually making conscious time for it. Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that information. Yes, we love to see that. That is so Saturn transiting the 5th house. Yes. Aquarius Mercury's. Yeah, Aquarius Mercury's. Sean, with all the cardinal energy, you played sports. You have to be a captain and picking teams. Interesting. Oh, that's so interesting. That makes total sense. See, I'm also learning from you. I love it. I love it. Getting to learn from you guys. This is the best. Alexandra, you said, "Hi, Hannah. You were one of the first astrologers I came across when you first studying astrology yourself. I've taught you so much." Oh, that's awesome. I'm so happy to be of service. And I really hope that you continue with your studies and you really like improve with it and you stay with it. That's awesome. I wish you the best within it. Morella, you've heard that it's best to have an empty 6th house. You have Saturn there. Oh, come on, 6th house. Everyone's sees the 6th house is so bad. I'm like, why? Pharrell Writer, you said you've got stellium in the 6th. You've got Neptune and Jupiter and Uranus. Oh, a lot of energy in the 6th there. And then Alexandra, you said you've got Neptune in the 6th. Daily routines aren't really your thing. You're working on it. Yeah, it's like Neptune blurring things. But then you suppose the thing about that too is like finding a flow. Finding your flow. Love. Jason, you said hi, everyone. Hi, Jason. Welcome to the live stream. I'm only saying hello to you now, like 20 minutes later. Both your parents are Virgos, so you were taught by clean freaks. Oh, Pluto in the sixth. Transformative indeed. Thanks for sharing. Oh, thank you so much. David, you said pray it forward. Say what a story. Thanks for sharing. Money and tarot, crystal and emotion, astrology and home, gratitude, relationship, time, and I'm assuming, is that kind of like what's the word? Are you helping with answers, or maybe? I can't remember what that's referring to. Okay. This space is so great. Safe place for learning and asking questions. Yes, we want a safe space, definitely. You know, everyone's welcome, and just we want to try to just create a nice setting for everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for just being so nice and so kind. Yay, that's so good. I'm glad. Right, so I think I've answered everybody's questions. I think I have. Yeah, I've answered everyone's questions, and I think I'm gonna call it a day. And we've explored the first 6 houses. And if you do want 7 through 12, let me know. I enjoyed this so much. Yeah, if you want the other houses 7 through 12, maybe that's something we can set up in a different live. And also, what else do I want to say before I go? Yeah, if you want to keep up to date with more videos, like videos early and daily forecasts and behind the scenes information content, you can go to my Patreon, Hannah's Elsewhere. Yeah, so I'm getting good feedback about 7 through 12. Awesome. Right. So what I could do is, oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much, Nicola. And thank you, David. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So nice. So yes, I just want to say that what I'll do is I will reword. I'll title the video 1 through 6, and then we can come back and we'll do 7 through 12. I think that'll be good. I would continue and do the other 6, but to be honest, my energy levels are not so good, and I think it deserves, those 6 houses, they deserve more energy from me, let's just say, or they just deserve more time. So, thank you again, and I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Okay, have a lovely weekend, and of course, if you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, that's okay as well. And that's me. As I say, have a lovely weekend, and I will speak to you all later. Bye.